Blue Protocol Star Resonance is a brand new anime MMORPG, and because it's brand new, many players are not going to have experienced anything like it before. Resources are incredibly valuable, and for that reason, today I'm going to be bringing you the top 5 mistakes to avoid when you're playing Blue Protocol Star Resonance. So with all that being said, my name is Braxophone, you can call me Brax, and let's get into it. When you're brand new to Blue Protocol Star Resonance, it might be an interesting idea to you to go try out tons of different classes. And actually, they're not too difficult to unlock. You only have to do a short quest to kill 20 monsters and you'll have the new class unlocked as long as you have the material to pay for the new class. But that is one of the biggest mistakes that you can make early on. In Star Resonance, you don't actually want to multi-class at all, at least not until you get to a higher level and you have tons of gear to be able to do endgame content. One of the main reasons is because of your skill tree. It takes a very long time to gather the book materials in order to level up the tiers of your talents. Most of the time, these advanced book selections are very difficult to come by. You get a limited amount per week, and you're also able to get some via some limited activities, but they're not going to be the easiest thing in the world to be able to get, and it takes quite a lot of them to be able to actually advance one of these tiers. With that in mind, the best thing you can do is vertically invest upwards to make your one class as strong as possible. If I take my Shield Knight here and I switch to a class that I haven't played yet, let's go Beat Performer, right? It'll unequip my weapon and I'll keep all of my gear on, so it'll actually give the impression that I do have a pretty high ability score, but this isn't telling the full story. If we go look at my skills, they're all tier 0. I haven't unlocked any of these guys, and the gear that I have equipped is actually for tank. You might see that I have a couple thumbs up on some of this gear, but as you can see, the gear that I have equipped is suboptimal. I have strength gear and I need intellect gear with some luck stats as well. So when you change classes, you need to go refarm tons of gear. You need to invest in the perfection of your weapons, which also takes materials, and on top of that, you need to be doing skills, and you may even need to get different imagines as well. Later on, you'll also have to deal with modules, which is another RNG stat, and it can just be a lot to switch classes early on. Not to mention, the hero's radiance is also an extra 680 orbs, which as a free-to-play player, you don't get a lot of. So I highly recommend not multi-classing early on. The second major mistake to avoid is spending too many of your red orbs on cosmetics very early in the game. As a new player on a new character, you won't get too many of these red orbs. You will get a lot of them at the launch of the game just because it is going to be a celebratory thing where they want to give out tons of orbs for you guys to be able to use. But if you spend all of your orbs right away on things like cosmetics here, you will be missing out on tons of great items that you need for your character's progression. For example, these cheer up treats can be useful for you if you want to get triple drops from a dungeon, but even more importantly than that, the exquisite material selection box is going to be very powerful when you're just short on materials, but you have a deadline coming up and you need to build and imagine. What's even more powerful than the colorful store is the mystery store, where you can see tons of different materials that come at a discounted price. For example, these exquisite materials are actually 20% less. I would argue in most cases that waiting for exquisite materials to go on sale is even better than spending in the colorful store, and I would say only spend on the colorful store if you absolutely have to. However, if you do see exquisite materials on sale here, it can be worth it, and honestly, if your progression's behind, you can also grab these advanced books that can sometimes come up in the mystery store. I haven't even told you the most important part about saving your orbs yet, which is about the gacha system. If we go down here to Mason, we can go look at the Will Wish, and as you can see, you're guaranteed an SR every 20 pulls, and you're guaranteed an SSR every 80 pulls. It costs 1,500 rose orbs to get a 10 pull, and you're gonna need 8 of those, which means you're gonna need 12,000 orbs to guarantee one of these characters. Now, odds are pretty high you'll get one of them earlier than 80, but if you're a free-to-play player, these are going to be the hardest thing for you to obtain, and these can only come from orbs. So I highly recommend, if you're a tank player, going for Irona can be great, and if you're a DPS player, Tina can be great. And honestly, across the board, both of these are amazing pickups. I would say Tina's the best Imagine in the game, and every player probably wants to have one, but if you're a team player and you're pugging a lot, and a lot of players die often, you can bring Irona, and that's going to massively help your account. And since you can only get these by crafting Imagines or by pulling for them, your red orbs are going to be the most useful here. So don't waste them on cosmetics too quickly, but once you feel comfortable in a certain area on your account, it should be fine to use them. The third mistake that I saw a lot of players making in the beta is not joining a guild. You want to join a guild as quickly as you can in this game because there are so many benefits to being in a guild, and it's very easy. All you have to do is go to the guild page just like I did and click on a guild to join. It's very simple. And once you're in a guild, you can go over to the guild center, do a guild daily check-in quest that's going to give you some guild currency. Everything has guild in front of it now. Once you're part of the guild, you can partake in some weekly activities and get some weekly bonuses as well. For example, if you go over here to guild cargo, you can get 1 to 2 of these basic star chests weekly, which can have any of these useful rewards, guild tokens, honor coins, and bound Luno. On top of that, once you unlock the guild store, you can go over here and weekly you can buy up to 8 focus potions, which are basically your stamina potions for life skilling. This is an extra 2 days a week of stamina. You go from doing 7 days of 400 to 9 days of 400 in your 7 days. On top of that, if you have extra coins, you can get extra refining materials and bury mech shards, which will help you refine your stuff at a higher level. It is very worth joining a guild specifically for these focus potions alone. But on top of that, you have weekly guild hunts as well, so make sure you join a guild as quickly as possible. It can be very tempting to immediately try to sell items on the market board when you're new, especially when the game's first getting started. The demand is never going to be higher than at the start of the game, and as a result, your items may sell for higher amounts. However, it can be a big mistake to sell all of your items on the market board early, because ultimately Star Resonance is a resource management game. When it comes to life skills, it's up to you if you want to go to the market board and sell all of these right away. However, the amount of money you'll actually make from selling these materials is not that significant unless you're willing to do it for more than a month at a time. Personally, I think getting your mining and smelting levels up faster is more important, and as a result, I think you should keep your mineralogy stuff and turn it into smelting things as fast as possible so that you can use these mystery metal, radiant stone, and 5 forge stone to refine your gear later. But more importantly than that, do not sell your Starforge crystals. These are going to be a very rare resource because you can only get a certain amount of them daily, or if you get lucky in the mystery shop. These will be one of the things that slow down your refinement progression pretty drastically, and if you sell these early on, your gear is going to be very behind in level compared to everyone else's. I would highly recommend holding on to these, at least early on in the game. If you're okay waiting a few months to play the game and selling all of your stuff early, you can totally do that, but I saw a lot of people immediately going to sell all of their resources, and by doing that, yeah, you'll make a little bit of money up front, but then your progression will be behind everyone else, and when it comes to the higher tier dungeons and raids and things like that, you won't be able to participate right away. The last mistake to avoid in Blue Protocol Star Resonance has to do with refining your gear. Now, refinement looks like a very straightforward process. If you go to the refinement screen, you see a bunch of materials, you see a success rate, and you choose to click on refine or not, depending on whether or not you're confident in your success rate. I'm here to tell you that it is never worth trying to upgrade your refinements without these bury mech shards here. And the reason is because the bury mech shards, when you use 5 of them, it'll give you 25% more success rate. You want to have as high of a success rate as possible, because if you fail to refine things, you lose the materials that you put into it. And Starforge crystals are one of the rarest resources in the game, and they're very difficult to get. So if you have to burn a bunch of them on failed refinements, it's not going to feel very good. So right now I have about an 80% chance of success with the 5 bury mech shards, and even now I could fail, but we're going to go ahead and give it a shot because I'm using the 5 bury mech shards. Boom, we are leveled up to 16. If I didn't use those, I had about a 50-50 shot, and you guys already know how 50-50s go for me. So it is 100% worth waiting until you've crafted some bury mech shards or gotten some from boxes or things like that, rather than trying to refine early. So with all that being said, you guys, those are my 5 mistakes to avoid for brand new Blue Protocol Star Resonance players. If you guys want to join a guild early on, I highly recommend checking out my guild Elysium. We'll be live from probably the first 2 minutes of the game. And if you guys want to be more involved, you can join my Discord, where you'll be able to reserve a spot as well as participate in events with the rest of the guild. Let me know if you guys are excited for Blue Protocol Star Resonance, and I'll catch you next time.